cabinet member advocating for Iowa small business owners, entrepreneurs, and startups. As Administrator McMahon shared, Iowa small business community definitely sees that tax reform as a key part of improving our business environment, as do we. Our tax reform is complicated, it's uncompetitive, and we need to do what we can to simplify, lower taxes. We want to take an opportunity to modernize the tax code to make sure that it fits the modern economy and we have Main Street fairness. In addition to that, we need to make sure that it's financially responsible and sustainable. We need to pass tax reform to help Iowa businesses grow, thrive, and have the opportunity to add more jobs to our local communities. Iowa is home to a wide range of national and international Fortune 500 companies, small family-owned businesses such as Calhoun Communications, which is a women-owned business in Sioux City that provides contract engineering services, products to radio stations and broadcast networks, including Iowa Public Television. Another great small business is H2W Apparel. It's, again, a woman-owned business in Council Bluffs, started by a single mother of three, already owned construction, entrepreneur, highlighting some of our most innovative small businesses in the state of Iowa. Small businesses in Iowa represent almost 49% of the workforce in the state, and companies with fewer than 100 employees have the largest share of small business employment. When people hear small, they think of mom and pop shops, but however, many of our small businesses provide products and services to customers throughout the world. In fact, 83% of Iowa exporters are small businesses, representing almost 20% of Iowa's total export value. In Iowa, we embrace and celebrate our small business owners' entrepreneurship for their grit, their vision, and really their willingness to take a risk. Commit to their employees. They creates a sense of family in their communities, which are often their hometowns. So in recognition of small business impact throughout our state, we've established a full-service website, iowasourcelink.com, and since launching 5 years ago, we've seen thousands of entrepreneurs access the technical assistance and financial resources to fit their specific needs. We also embrace our diverse business owners. More than 30 years ago, Iowa created the Targeted Small Business Program to promote the growth and development of business owned and operated by women, minorities, persons with disabilities, service-connected disabled vets. In Iowa, we've seen about 81% increase in minority businesses between 2007 and 2012. And the businesses that become certified as a targeted small business are given a leg up when accessing procurement opportunities within the state. Additionally, I just want to thank the administrator. SBA has been a tremendous business partner for small businesses in the state of Iowa. They provide tremendous resources, they provide mentoring, and really work with small businesses to access financing. So I just again want to say thank you for being here, for bringing your Ignite tour to Iowa. It was an honor to host you. We had a wonderful conversation with business owners at the roundtable, and I would like to give you the opportunity to address.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Is this going to slide down the thing?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to keep my hand on it so it won't slide. Governor Reynolds, thank you so very much for having me here in Iowa. We spoke a few months ago, right after I became the SBA administrator, and we talked about things that were going on in Iowa and the importance of small business. And I said, I really want to come to Iowa. And as Governor Reynolds said a little earlier, be careful what you wish for when you say to me you want to come to Iowa, because I'm going to make that happen. So she clearly did. I'm so happy to be here with her today. And I have now been in about 27 states since I became SBA administrator, and I started in May. So we've been going at a pretty good pace. But we're talking about access to the cabinet. I haven't had access to a governor to spend this much time in her state, in this case, to meet with small businesses, to tour businesses, which we will do this afternoon. She and I had a great dinner last night to get a little acquainted and to hear about what her plans are in Iowa and the different movements in Iowa and the policies. And I would like to say that I would like for every governor of every state to have the same focus on small businesses Governor Reynolds does, because it's evident on the economic growth in Iowa. That is, over 99% of the businesses in Iowa are small businesses, over 260,000 of them. And it's pretty much, that's pretty much how the average runs in our country. Over 97% of all businesses in our country are small businesses. And it's an amazing thing to understand that they are the engine of our economy. They are the backbone of our economy. And when President Trump asked me to take on this job as SBA administrator, he said he wanted someone who had actually built and started and grown a business and experienced good times and bad times. So he knew I was a good candidate for that. And as I was leaving his office the day that he talked to me about taking the job, he was then President-elect Trump. He put his hands on my shoulders. I've known him for about 25 years, and he just looked me right in the eye, and he said, "I have one request, Linda." And I said, and by now I'm saying, "Yes, sir." And he said, "Do a good job." And so I try every day to do a good job advocating on behalf of small businesses in Washington. And the president is such an incredible supporter of small businesses. He understands what it means to the economy of our country and to the world, by the way, because we are doing memos of understanding with other countries outside of the United States, because as Iowa knows, exporting products from small businesses here also stimulates and grows not only local economy, but global economy. So I'm happy to bring the Ignite Tour, and people say, "What is the Ignite Tour?" Well, you know, I think I'm on fire, and I want everybody else to be on fire. And but we started with our Spark Leadership Conference last May in Washington with our district directors and our deputy district directors to hear from them, because my whole deal, if you will, about making this tour is to listen. It's for information gathering. I told the president last week, so if you want to know what small businesses think, ask them, because they're not shy. And so I have been out from many sectors of the country. I have been from Puerto Rico to Anchorage, East Coast, West Coast, and Heartland, and hearing really from small businesses common themes. Many of them, first and foremost, it is tax cuts, and they talk tax cuts more than tax reform, because without fail, they will say to me, "I will reinvest that money in my company, whether or not it's to hire more employees, raise wages, to create more goods and services, open that satellite office," whatever it is. Without fail, they talk about reinvesting in their company. That's how we grow. So tax reform, tax cuts, top of mind for the administration. Certainly, I'm hearing it from small businesses all over the country. And then other issues that were part of our discussion with businesses this morning, which Governor Reynolds has just been so in the forefront on, is workforce development. And that is a national goal as well. So I tell you, I'm enthusiastic to be here in Iowa, and I've had a great time. And we'll finish out the rest of the day with Governor Reynolds, because I think we're both on the same page. I said we ought to take this act on the road, because it seems that we have a great deal of common interest. So thank you all for your interest this morning, and I believe that we're going to take some questions.
Some questions on this topic.
I'm not doing any lobbying. Let's be clear about that. My role is not to be a lobbyist. But I think we're going to see, I really do support what the president has been saying for the past week or so, and that is, in his view, we now have the bill that was passed by the House, the bill that was passed by the Senate, and his exact words are, now we've put it all in a mixer. And it's getting mixed up, and we're going to be able to pull out the parts of this bill that are going to be even better than what either the House or the Senate's bill is. And that's what I'm expecting to see. We don't have definitive answers yet on pass through, what the brackets are going to be, all of those things. And I think it's going to be a really good bill, good for middle class America, good for our small businesses, and good for our economy in general. So I'm incredibly supportive.
Let's hope for next week. Let's shoot for that. Let's shoot for next week. Okay. Okay. Yep.
What is your timeline for, this is a key priority for your
Yep.
administration.
Yep.
What's your timeline for what you would like to see in terms of
Well,
taxes?
Well, of course, what happens at the federal level will have a big impact on what we're able to do at the state level. And so we're watching very closely. We're encouraging to get something done in a timely manner. I'm cautiously optimistic. It seems like there's great movement, not a lot of differences. This is part of the process. So it would be great if they were able to get something done next week. We've been working on this all interim. So we're looking at different modeling, and we'll see what they're able to do at the federal level, and then we'll be able to plug that in. So, I want this, this will be hopefully one of the things that I'll be able to propose in the condition of the state or throughout the legislative session. So it's a priority of this administration. We know that that's the next step that we need to take to be competitive. We had a phenomenal legislative session last year. I would say it was historic, the most pro-jobs legislative session in decades. And the next thing that we need to do is to really make it simpler. It's too complex to make it fair. And we want to, as we talk to the small business owners, it really, if we can reduce taxes, they will invest that in Iowans and into their company, and they'll look for opportunities to growth. And so we want a tax code that inspires growth and not inhibits it. And so that's what we're working on, and we're cautiously optimistic that we'll get something done in a timely manner.
The second part first, I didn't hear anything relative to Iowa that was new, except maybe a little different twist on some of the same themes. But it is tax cuts, it's healthcare reform. More and more, we're hearing workforce development and shortage of workforce across the country. That is also clearly something that the administration is focusing on. SBA is helpful in that as well, because through the mentoring programs of SBA, we want to make sure that we are helping to educate and guide young entrepreneurs, not just young, but entrepreneurs who've started businesses, who are looking to scale their business or transition into another business. So taxes, healthcare costs, regulatory reform, and workforce issues, they are consistent across the country. And that is what our focus is on.
I think, too, one of the points that were brought up when we talk about the high cost of healthcare is because of our low unemployment, a 17-year low, 3%, to be competitive, they need to be able to offer benefits. And with the increasing cost of premiums, it's been really hard for them to compete as a small business owner, because what started out as providing coverage for their employees, it's been more and more difficult as we've seen the cost increase. And so they've had to pare back. They're doing everything they can to still provide some type of coverage for their employees. But, it makes them uncompetitive because of the increased cost of healthcare. And when you're dealing in almost a full employment market, and with the workforce issues that we're dealing with, it makes it really difficult. Okay, thank you.